Alright guys, well we're out here again today. I don't have my splitting maul fixed yet, obviously, it just happened yesterday, but this is going to be probably the most fun that I've ever had making any video. This video is obviously by the title going to be sighting in my rifle. So I'm going to walk you guys through the steps to sight in a rifle. You know, if you get a brand new rifle, these steps apply. If you get one used and don't trust it, these steps apply. If you get one that you trust to already be bore sighted, then you know, just go ahead and skip the bore sighting. But you don't need fancy lasers or anything like that. I'm going to show you how to do it the El Cheapo and kind of old way. So I've measured off, okay, from this tree right here, let's see, that piece of wood right there is halfway, it's 50 yards. I've got another little piece of wood on up there a little ways at 10 yards. But that's 50 yards. And then from this little tree right here is right at 100 yards from that tree down there. So we'll be setting up right here in the driveway and shooting towards that tree. Now the first thing you want to make sure of is what's behind where you're shooting, in case you miss completely, which you shouldn't, but in case you do, what's back there? Now what's back there for me is densely wooded area. I don't know if you can see that discoloration, kind of tan peachish color right there. That's the gravel road that goes straight like up a hill. So if I'm shooting from here to that tree, my bullet after about a quarter of a mile is going to just embed itself into a hillside. And the cows are off up that way, so it's not going to be a problem. So let's get this, oh yeah, I also, my brother-in-law let me borrow his shooting rest and table, so it's a pretty nifty deal, and I'm going to go ahead and set that up now. Alright, so here we are set up. I got tired of waiting on the Walmart delay crap. I went in there to get one. My background check through NCIS was delayed for some reason. I waited on them for about a week, at least 3 or 4 days, and didn't hear anything back from them, so I just went to a pawn shop and got a Savage Model 110 30-06. So, anyway, so there that is, just a 3x9 scope. Now this little shooting stand right here, I guess takes the brunt of the kick from the gun. And I still have to set all this up. You have to adjust all these, you know, different parts out to put it just where you need it to be. And it's got 25 pounds of weight holding it down. And then there's this, it's called a Caldwell stable table. And this is my brother-in-law's, and it ain't been used in a few years, so he told me if I could find it in the garage that I could borrow it, so that's pretty neat. Now you don't have to have this kind of stuff to sight in a rifle. I mean, you can just take like an old pair of khakis or something and cut the legs off of it about 12 inches long, and you know, sew one end up or use a zip tie and clinch one end close, fill it with long grain rice to a certain amount, and then, you know, make yourself some sandbag type of deals out of it, you know, 2 or 3 to hold the front of the gun up, and one big poofy one that you can bunch up back here at the butt, and that'll work, you know, pretty good also. But like I said, my brother-in-law just had this and said I could borrow it, so why not? And then I just printed off some sighting targets. This one's got a 1/2 inch grid, and this one's a 1 inch grid. and then I'm just going to staple them to a piece of scrap OSB and then nail the OSB to the tree. So let me go ahead and get the target and everything all set up, and then I'll talk you guys through bore sighting. Okay, so what you want to do first in bore sighting is get your gun set up, get your stand set up and everything, get your crosshairs just as close to the bullseye as you can get them, and then you want to slide your bolt out where you can look down the barrel. Now on this one, the safety has to be off and the trigger has to be pulled while you're pushing this down, and then the bolt will slide out. Alright, so if your rifle is brand new or you don't know anything about it, you should probably get up closer. I marked off the 10-yard spot. You should probably get up about 10 or 20 yards and make sure you're close. Make sure you're at least on paper. But this one seemed like it was fairly close to start with. Now I've never tried to look down the barrel of a gun with a camera or tried to look through a scope, but I'm going to try to get you. Okay, well, you probably can't tell, but I've got the crosshairs pretty much right on the bullseye there on the left target. Now what you want to do is you want to get down to eye level. I don't know if I'll be able to do this or not. To eye level of the barrel there, and look through there until your barrel, the tip of your barrel is exactly in the center of the rear of the barrel, and then make sure your target is in sight. And I'll probably put in a couple little sketches right here to illustrate that better. But this one looks like it's pretty close, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and take a shot and see how close it is. Now the method I'm going to show you guys, you should be able to sight in at 100 yards using only 2 or 3 bullets. I'll probably use more here today just because it's fun and I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and take a shot here. Alright, I guess I'm going to go ahead and try it from this angle and hopefully you guys will be able to see. Now when I'm actually hunting, I don't wear these this ear protection, but when I'm just shooting around like this, I used to not to, but I don't really care for the ringing ears too much. So also you don't want to buy separate target shot to sight your rifle in. When you're sighting your rifle in, you want to use the same exact bullet that you're going to be hunting with. So I'm using, I think it's 165 grain 30-06 core locked. So I'll use, 4, 5, maybe 6 rounds today, and then the rest of them will get put up until deer season. So I'm only going to load 1 round at a time. So now I'll more than likely, hey, what's this? I guess this keeps the gun strap down, huh? Didn't even notice that. I guess that thing's going to take pretty much all the kick. See, this is retarded. You have to take it off of safe to open the bolt. So when you're loading rounds, the safety is automatically off, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Safety on. I guess it would work better if I had pulled my ear protection down over my ears. Jeez Louise. And no, I didn't just shoot that cow. Okay, let me see if I can zoom in to where we hit. Alright, so since we have the grid spacing, we can see that we're 2 inches low. Okay. So I'm going to show you an easy way to adjust the scope here, just for that. Alright, since we are just a tad low, an easy way to set the scope instead of counting clicks and all that, what you can do is just line your crosshair back up with the bullseye. Make sure you're good and steady, and once you're lined up dead center on that bullseye or wherever you were aiming at in the first place, then all you got to do is just adjust your crosshairs with your scope knobs down to the actual bullet hole, and that should be darn close. But I'm going to go ahead and take another shot here just to make sure that I didn't jerk or anything. I got my ears on this time. Now see what I was saying before about it only taking just a couple, maybe 3 bullets, is right now, if you trusted your shot to know, that you didn't jerk or anything, you bring your crosshairs down to that bullet hole, and then you can go ahead and back up to 100 yards and take another shot. And if you hit anywhere close to the bullseye, you'd bring your crosshairs back to the bullet hole again, and you wouldn't have to take another shot if you didn't want to. So, I mean, you could use as little as 2 bullets and be pretty darn close. But I just want to make sure, so I'm going to go ahead and take another shot here in just a second. I love the smell of gunpowder in any time of the day, really. So it looks like we are accurate. Our grouping is, a 1/2 inch there. So let's go ahead and like I said, put the crosshairs just directly on the bullseye where you were aiming before, like you were going to try to take another shot at the bullseye. Then, without moving anything at all, go ahead and adjust your scope crosshairs until you can line up your bullet hole with your crosshairs. And that should be pretty close to right on. So I'll go ahead and show you guys doing that. Okay, so I kind of jumped ahead, but I'm sure you all are familiar with it. First thing you want to do is take your little protective caps off your scope. And then most of the time, I'm sure always, the top one's going to be your elevation and the side one's going to be your windage or your left-right. Alright, now I'm going to take a shot there. What I've done is pulled my crosshairs down to the bullet hole. So now I'm going to line back up with the bullseye and see what we've done. Alright, so I'll go ahead and get set up to take another shot. Now, like I said, at this point, you really could step back to the 100-yard mark without taking another shot. I just want to because it's fun. Alright, so I don't guess it'll probably get much better than that. That looks dead on to me, so we'll go ahead and back up to 100 yards. 100 yards is about the furthest that I'm going to be shooting at a deer around here. Anyway, it's thick wooded, and I mean, you can get right up on a deer in these woods, so it's not any big deal to drop one at 30 yards or anything like that. So it's not uncommon. It's not very common to hit one over 150 yards away or something like that. You can get closer than that in these woods. It's kind of irresponsible to be taking that far shot, but if you're confident and you've got a good weapon and you know your weapon and you can take that shot, then put some meat in your freezer by all means. Alright, so I'm back here at 100 yards. Okay. I'm going to fire one more round to make sure I didn't jump. So I'll go ahead and I might have flinched on that first one. So I'll go ahead and put my crosshairs back on the bullseye, and I'm going to bring them up just in between those two shots and see what we get then. I'm pretty sure the left and right were okay. Let me check again. I'll use you guys as binoculars here. Yeah, the left-right's pretty good. So I'll just go ahead and zoom back in here so we can, or so you can see where I hit. So I'm going to run 2 more rounds through it to group a set of 3, and then if all 3 of those hit, I'll call it good. That's good right there. She's dialed in at 100 yards. It's just a, you know, maybe a 1/4 of an inch to the right, but I mean that's right there. So at 100 yards, I just hit about a circle the size. If there would have been a quarter, a 25-cent piece, you know, a quarter attached to the tree, I would have just cut the quarter in half. So at 100 yards, I'd call that a success. So I'm going to go ahead and put my scope caps back on. I might take one more shot. I might, you know, flip the scope a little bit. Make sure it's not hung up or nothing. Yeah, we'll take one more shot. Because this, like I said, I just bought this gun, so I'm a little skeptical of, you know, how well scopes hold their sighting. Just, you know, on a scope that I'm not personally used to. Like I said, I might have just jumped. It happens. Even when you're using a stand, it can still affect it. Just flinched a little bit that one time, but alrighty. I'll probably go ahead and put in some little drawings and things like that all throughout the video, probably trying to explain what I'm trying to tell you, because it's hard to tell you how to look down, you know, through the breech and through the barrel of a rifle and center up the front edge of the circle with the in the middle of the back end. You know, it's kind of confusing unless you see it. But anyways, our little group of, woo, it's sensitive when you zoom in quite a bit. Our little group of 3 right there tore one big hole in the paper, so that's a good kill right there. I mean, that's, you know, that's at 100 yards. Alrighty, so this target this one's the 100-yard target. Okay, so this is 1-inch grid. So our 100-yard grouping is about 1 inch. So, I mean, that's pretty good. This center square right here, if you can tell by the size of my finger, the center diamond is about the size of a dime. So I'd say that that's pretty good. And then this one over here is set up on 1/2-inch grid. And so there's this one's at 50 yards. A 50-yard sighting is, say, 1, 2, say about 2.5 inches high. So if you wanted to sight your rifle in for closer, say 50 yards, just know that it's going to shoot at 100 yards 2.5 inches high, and compensate for that in your sighting. But I like to sight mine in at 100 yards, and then if you're going to shoot something closer, just, you know that it's going to shoot low. about 2 inches. So I'm guessing to start with, this rifle was sighted in at 100 yards. It was a little bit to the left, but I'm guessing it was sighted in at 100 yards. So I should have took a shot at this to start with, but I wanted to show you guys the process from beginning to end. So I think we've done that, and I am extremely happy with that grouping. Alrighty, well, I want to thank everybody for watching this video and watching all my videos. Safety. And I hope this was a little bit of fun for everybody to watch. It was fun for me to shoot, so so now I got to tear this stand all down and take it back. So this stand is extremely stable and extremely good, but it's a, you know, it's quite a procedure putting it up and taking it down. Well, if anybody was curious about the Savage Model 110 30-06, I can vouch that it's an accurate gun. You know, we just got done grouping 3 shots at 100 yards to about a 1-inch group. Close enough to where the paper is just one big hole. That's about as accurate as I can ever hope to get. So we'll see if we can't put some meat in the freezer this year.